Right, Nottingham Forest Premier League survival may be assured, but they face a battle to keep hold of Elliot Anderson. Head coach Vitor Pereira has spoken about his midfielder today.
He's a pure talent. He has a lot of talent, and he has a strong character. He doesn't have afraid of nothing. He's a player that, when we are struggling, he wants the ball. He wants to make the last pass. He wants to create. He wants to score. He wants to do everything. And this is the profile that he can fly. He can fly. Of course, he can fly. I hope he can fly with us next season. We'll see.
Can't confirm that then. Now, an exclusive.
I cannot. We cannot. In football, I can leave. Everyone can leave. Just the club will stay. We know that the club will stay in the Premier League. Will compete in Premier League next season. The other players and the manager and everyone, we don't know if we'll be here or not.
He's a great character, isn't he, Vitor Pereira? Just talking of Anderson, there's a bit of a spoiler alert, but he wasn't included in the Young Player of the Year or the Player of the Year nominations. Do you think that's unlucky, given the season he's had?
100%, yeah. I mean, outstanding player. For me, he's been, phenomenal. And how he's sort of slipped under the radar and not been amongst that is just absolutely ludicrous. It really is. Every time I've seen him this season, he's been outstanding. Hence, all the top clubs seem to want to get his signature. He's the closest I've seen to Steven Gerrard. That's how much I feel he is. He's got that intensity, his play, his bite about his game. Very, very good player, and Forest have got a super talent on their hands.
That's high praise, that is. He has been linked, not with Liverpool, he's been linked with Manchester City, Manchester United. Where would he fit better, do you feel?
It'd be down to his choice, but I think personally, I think he'd be looking at Manchester City, if I'm honest. I think he'd suit the way Pep plays. As I said about his intensity, he could add all sorts to Manchester City just because of what he brings. For me, as I said, he's got so much ability. He can run games, and with more quality. I'm not saying Forest haven't got more quality, but you're stepping into a City side where you're flurried.
Would he start though, do you think?
I think he'd have to go and start. I really do. I think Rodri obviously has had that injury, which you'd think he would come back very strong. But yes, I think looking in that midfield area, he cannot not go to City and not start. I don't think it'd be a sort of a Calvin Phillips situation where he goes in and we don't see him again. I think he's got too much about him not to go to a Manchester City and not getting that starting 11. And that's why I think Pep's a big admirer of him, as many managers are in this league, because he's got sheer potential and talent.
Yeah, he has had quite the ridiculous season, hasn't he? If he did move, Carve, who would be best placed, do you think, to get him?
I think a couple of months ago you would have said definitely Manchester City. But obviously now the resurgence of Manchester United, the fact that it looks like Michael Carrick's going to stay, they're back in the Champions League as well. Casemiro is going to be leaving, question marks over the future of Manuel Ugarte as well. So I think if he was to go to United, he would almost become one of the main men straight away. Whereas I think at City, he would probably have a bit more on his plate. It'd be harder to break into that team and play regularly week in, week out, especially if Rodri signs a new contract. Nice position for him to be in, if he's got a choice. Yeah, but
given the form that he showed this year, you wouldn't want to go to a club where he was going to warm the bench, though, would you?
No, I don't see any point in him doing that. No. I think that'd be one thing he'd have to view, and it's a good point that Carvin makes. If he goes into a Manchester United, he's got to be part of possibly a building process that they're going to have there, because there are going to be players that are going to be going out. Michael has done a brilliant job. That might